Everybody all set? All right. Well, on behalf of Kentucky Speedway, I'd like to offer my welcome and our welcome to Day 3 of the Charlotte Media Tour, and I'd like to welcome those here in the theater and also those watching on NASCAR.com. And we'd like to thank Richard for allowing us to make this sponsor announcement today, our race sponsor announcement, adjacent to their presentation here at the Charlotte Media Tour. Joining us on stage, certainly we know Richard and Ty, of course, but Mark Simendinger, Kentucky Speedway General Manager, Jim Divers, who's ALSCO Director of Sales and Marketing, Steve Larson, ALSCO Vice President of North American Operations. We will hear from all of those folks in just a few minutes. Now, please direct your attention to the center screen for the Kentucky Speedway Race Entitlement announcement.
So, ladies,
it's on.
This is on. So there's the announcement that July the 8th, our Xfinity Series race will be sponsored by ALSCO, and it will be entitled the ALSCO 300. It was kind of neat to watch that video. Brendan, that's what our track used to look like. Sorry about that, brother. You know, for us, this is one of the most important sponsorship deals that we have ever done at Kentucky Speedway. And the reason for that is that we're dealing with a company in ALSCO who's been involved in motorsports for many, many years. And they had an opportunity to do whatever they wanted to do in the sport. This is very much like our association with Quaker State. And I put them on the same level as marketers, people that know how to activate in this sport. They could go anywhere they want. They could do any kind of asset purchase that they wanted to purchase. And for them to come to Kentucky Speedway, spend some time with us. They've been in lower sponsorship levels for a couple of years, and then want to step up and be able to put this together with us. It's a real shot in the arm for us as a team. It says a lot about where Kentucky Speedway is going. And for us to be with ALSCO, who is a market leader, who is a marketer, who also touches consumers, zillions of them, across this country, and certainly in our market area, is a huge, huge win for Kentucky Speedway. We could not be more proud to be associated with them, and we really look forward to what we're going to be able to accomplish with them starting this July. So with that, I want to turn it over to Steve Larson. Steve, for some comments.
Well, thank you. Good morning. We're really happy to be here this morning with you. Let me start by telling you a little bit about what ALSCO is and what we do. ALSCO is a fourth generation family-owned business that was established in 1889. Over these years, we've learned that the value that is attained by building good relationships. That's why we're excited about teaming up with the Kentucky Motor Speedway and to sponsor the ALSCO 300. We have been partnering with the Speedway over several years now. But we have been participating in customer events as well as providing race day uniforms to their staff. We view one of the best ways to reach our customers and to expand our prospect base is through great partnerships like Kentucky Speedway and NASCAR. We also enjoy the great partnership with Richard Childress Racing, providing all the shop uniforms, mats, and first aid service. We would like to also thank VF Imagewear, our garment provider, for helping to facilitate this Childress relationship. We understood clearly the value of being part of the racing team. Alsco provides rental and cleaning services for restaurant linens, mats, kitchen uniforms, a wide variety of work uniforms, hygiene systems for restrooms, and first aid cabinets. We do this business over 14 countries, serving more than 300,000 customers with 18,000 great employees of Alsco. We look forward to a long-lasting relationship. And with that, I say thank you, and I turn it over to Jim Divers.
Thanks, Steve. And it's a joy for us to be here. You heard Steve and Mark both talk about relationships, and I think that is the core of NASCAR, and that's why relationships are very important to grow our business and to grow any business. But I wanted to walk you through how relationships and partnerships got us here today, because I think it's very important. There's 4 companies that really are responsible for us sitting here today, and it started about 3 years ago. John Cox, which has been a good friend for a long time, Dan Stewart, and then later I met Mark, called me and needed race day uniforms in a hurry. So we put a package together with them very quickly, took care of their race day needs, and then we started talking about suite space where we could bring customers to entertain at the track. So after that first year, we said, Steve and I said, well, how can we make it better? And then we got a call from our uniform partners at VF, Red Cap, and they said, hey, we have a great relationship with Richard Childress Racing. We need to figure out how we can run an Alsco car there. So for the last 2 years, we've had the pleasure of meeting Ty and Richard and having them run that Alsco car up there, and our phone just rings off the hook every time that happens. And along those lines, we began talking with Richard. I remember doing that in the back of the hauler. We started talking about their uniforms at the shop. So all of that put together brings on a great partnership and a great relationship, and we couldn't be happier to share the stage with you guys today. So thank you very much, and we appreciate it. We look forward to many, many years of this. Thanks so much.
So Richard, you got to feel like this is just an extension of something that started a few years ago.
Yeah, I do, and we've been very fortunate to take a few trophies away from Kentucky over the years, and hopefully this year Ty or Austin or whoever's driving the other cars, Brandon or Brian or everybody that'll be there in this race, hopefully we'll bring that one of them will bring that trophy back. But it's a great partnership. We was using their services, Alsco services, at our winery before, and we were using their country club down there, so golf course. So it's a great company, a lot of history behind it, and it's family. That's what we feel good about. It's family.
Ty, you've had the experience with them the last couple of years on the car, and this is an extension. You'd love to be in Victory Lane in July.
Yeah, definitely. For the last couple of years, our Alscar Chevy, we've been, I think last year we were leading with 3 laps to go in the race, and the year before that we led the most laps. So this year, hopefully we can get the job done. That's our plan, or if not, one of our teammates, Brandon or Austin or whoever's in the car, will be able to get in Victory Lane. But very excited for Alsco's partnership with Kentucky Speedway. 2 great companies that have been really great to me. It's nice to see a relationship grow from our relationship with VF Imagewear to where we met a company like Alsco and have had a partnership for the last couple of years and being at the racetrack with these guys. And their group of people that comes to the racetrack is one of the most excited groups. They're always so pumped for the Kentucky Speedway race, and now that they're the title sponsor, it's a really cool feeling to be able to be in that race and see how this relationship has grown, and hopefully grow our future together with Alsco and Kentucky Speedway.
All right, it'll be July 8th, 2016. That's Friday night and it'll start at 8:30, and that race will be on NBC Sportsnet. So thank you for your attention. We're going to take still pictures and one-on-one interviews after the RCR presentation right here in the theater, and we are going to ask Richard and Ty to stay, and the other three gentlemen will leave the stage now, and this morning's program will continue with Richard Childress Racing, and I would like to introduce President Tori Galata.
Good morning, everybody. On behalf of everybody at Richard Childress Racing and RC, I'd like to thank you all for coming out this morning and attending our part of Chevy Thursday. Before I start, I just want to ask you guys to do me a favor. Every time that I say excited, would you please write down happy, eager, enthusiastic, thrilled, animated, motivated, energized, enlivened, or even electrified. All right? I just want to help you out with that. Thank you. Before I get started, a few introductions. Dr. Eric Warren is here today with us on the other end, along with all of our drivers. And Mike Dillon is here, our VP of Competition. Richie Gilmore, President of ECR Engines, is here. Mike Coughlin, our Technical Director, is here. Gil Martin, who's our Xfinity Series General Manager, is here with us also. And Todd Parrott, who's our utility infielder and manages our overall R&D efforts, is also here with us. And all of those guys will be available when we finish up for questions this morning. We are really looking forward to 2016, but before I get into that, just a few quick words on 2015. We were really proud this year to have put two cars into the chase to contend for a championship. It was the second straight appearance by Ryan Newman and his seventh time in the chase overall, and the first time for Paul Menard and the number 27 team. Really consistent performance by Paul, and really a great rookie season by his crew chief, Justin Alexander. So, as I said, really happy to have had both of those guys in contention for a championship this year. We made a switch about halfway through the season with Austin Dillon and teamed him up with Slugger Labby, and we feel like they're carrying a lot of momentum into the 2016 season. They finished up the second half of the year with 6 top 10 starts and 4 top 10 finishes. So we're really excited to get those guys going for 2016. All three of our Cup teams know what it takes to make the chase, and like I said, we feel like we got a lot of momentum going into 2016. I'm very happy to say that all of our Sprint Cup drivers and all of our key partners are back in the Cup Series next year. So the number 3 team in Austin will have partnership from Dow, American Ethanol, Cheerios, and Bass Pro, and we've got a couple of more exciting announcements over the next several weeks. The number 27 team with Paul and Justin are back with Menards and their family of vendors, and Ryan Newman is back for his third season with us, with crew chief Luke Lambert, and partnership from Caterpillar, Wix, and Granger. We also are continuing our very successful technical partnerships with both Germain Racing and JTG Dougherty Racing. And I'm also proud to tell you today that we're adding a new partner to our lineup, and pleased to announce that Circle Sport Levine Family Racing are also going to be technical partners and engine partners with us this year. So they joined Chevy's impressive stable of teams for 2016. We've had a partnership with Joe Falk for the last several years, and Ty has driven a number of races for Joe, and we're really happy to have Bob Levine and his family and their team as we support their first full season effort in the Sprint Cup Series. We also will be providing technical support and engines to Tommy Baldwin Racing. And in the Xfinity Series, we're providing support to Gallagher Motorsports, who is going to make their first starts in the Xfinity Series this year. And we're also supporting Cowleague Racing, which is a brand new team, which is starting with driver Blake Cook in the Xfinity Series. So lots of activity there. On the Xfinity front, it was a very good year for us last year. We made a lot of noise in the series. Ty saw another really hard-fought battle that came down to the final race for the championship, and he drove his guts out and had an incredibly consistent second half of the season. And so we look forward to another great battle this year. All three of our full-time Xfinity Series drivers last year finished in the top 10. Austin had 4 victories. He swept Charlotte last year. And Paul Menard had an incredible drive at Road America, and that was personally my favorite Victory Lane scene of last year. To see Paul and his entire family up at Road America in Victory Lane was great. So this season we're back again with 4 full-time teams, and we're planning to put 3 of those teams into the new Xfinity Series chase with all of our full-time drivers. You got that, Brandon? We've realigned some of our efforts. First, we previously announced that we've promoted Brandon Jones, and he's going to be running full-time this year in the number 33 car. And his crew chief is going to be Mike Hillman. Mike has won 2 Truck Series championships, and so I think he's going to give you a real leg up in that battle for the Rookie of the Year. Last season, Brandon ran 5 races for us. He had a top 5 and 2 top 10 finishes. And in his last race at Kentucky, he led 16 laps. So we know that he knows how to get it done, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch him and his team this year. Brandon is going to be sponsored in a number of races by Menards. And we're also really proud to announce that we've got a new partner coming on board for this year, NEXTEERA Automotive. And NEXTEERA is a global leader in intuitive motion control. And they'll join Menards as a primary sponsor this year on the number 33 team. And we are distributing a press release on that as we speak. And right now it's my pleasure to invite up Dan Drawley, who's the Executive Director of Operations for NEXTEERA. And Dan wants to say a few words.
Morning, everybody. Thanks for having me. NEXTEERA Automotive is proud to partner with Richard Childress Racing for the 2016 NASCAR season. Our shared vision of innovation and reliability just makes this a perfect fit. Through this partnership, NEXTEERA expands our visibility and our brand awareness through the NASCAR world, and it's going to allow us to engage our global customers and all of our employees. RCR benefits as well with our steering technologies, known for exceptional performance, safety, and handling. Our steering technologies can be found both on the Cup cars and Xfinity Series cars. Our steering roots date back to 1906. Since then, we've grown to be a global Tier 1 automotive supplier and a leader in intuitive motion control, from roads around the world to NASCAR racetracks. Throughout the Xfinity Series, we'll be riding along with Rookie of the Year and championship contender Brandon Jones and the number 33 Chevrolet as either a primary or major partner. In the Sprint Cup Series, we'll also be joining Ty in the number 95 Chevrolet as a major associate partner for selected races. We look forward to this winning combination of RCR and NEXTEERA to translate into wins on the racetrack. All of us at NEXTEERA wish all the RCR drivers and crews a safe and successful 2016 season. And I can't leave the stage. Ryan, I haven't met you yet. Go Boilers.
Thank you very much, Dan. On behalf of Ty Dillon and Brandon Jones and everybody at RCR, we couldn't be more proud to be representing you guys. So welcome to the family. We're really, really happy to have you guys on board. Okay, so let's talk about a few other changes in the Xfinity Series. Our number 2 team this year is going to include a multi-driver lineup that will include Austin and Paul Menard, and we'll have partnership there from Ream and Menards and Ream's vendor partner Richmond, and Danny Stockman will be the crew chief with that team. The number 3 team with Ty Dillon, Nick Harrison is back as crew chief, and we've got partnership from Bass Pro, Wesco, and VF Imagewear and their Red Cat brand. And we're also announcing today that Ream will be a partner of Ty's this year, and they'll sponsor him for select races throughout the season. We've got another press release coming out on that as we speak. Ty is also going to run several cup races this year with the 95 team, and he'll start those efforts at Daytona with partnership from General Mills. So he'll be in the 95 at Daytona with General Mills. Also, back at RCR for his 5th season is driver Brendan Gaughan and his crew chief, Shane Wilson. Brendan is back with support from South Point as well as Wix Filters. RCR's development team is also back in full force. So last year at this time, we introduced you to 15-year-old Anna Parkhurst and 18-year-old Kate Dollenbach, and both of them are here with us today. Anna had a very busy year last year. She competed in 42 crate late model races in 5 states and turned in 7 top 5 finishes. Her average finish was 8th place. This year, she's going to compete in 35 crate and 525 late model races, and she's also going to run 13 Southeast Super Truck Series events. Kate Dollenbach last year competed in 18 Wayland late model events, and she had 6 top 5 and 12 top 10 finishes. She also raced in 6 other late model races, and she earned a top 5, 2 top 10s, and 4 top 15 finishes. So both Kate and Anna are here and available for questions as well. Lastly, it's also been an incredibly busy off-season for the ECR team, and they're getting prepared next week to head back to Daytona for the 24-hour and help the Chevy Corvettes defend their series championships in the prototype class. ECR last year won in every series that we build engines for, including Cup, Xfinity, the Truck Series, and IMSA Prototype. They won the IMSA Tudor Series Championship for the 2nd year in a row. They won the Manufacturers Championship for the 3rd year in a row. Overall, they had a total of 16 victories last year. And Richie Gilmore, Dr. Andy Randolph, and Gary Patterson are also here if you have questions for them. Lastly, I wanted to mention that we did some really interesting things last year with one of our technical partners, Dell. A year ago, I didn't know what the heck the Internet of Things was, but I've become intimately involved with everything that's going on the technology front with our partners at Dell and Intel, and we plan to continue that this year. So if you're curious about that, talk to Dr. Eric Warren or Mike Coughlin about our Internet of Things projects. So next year we'll be back again with 7 race teams and an incredibly solid lineup of corporate partners, and we're ready to go to Daytona. So with that, I will turn it over to our chairman and CEO, Richard Childress, for a few words.
Thank you, Torrey. We're all really excited. All the teams you'll hear from here today or this week have the same feeling going into Daytona. But I know how hard this group has worked. I was there during the holidays watching our guys in the engine shop work on a lot of projects and spent a lot of time in the off-season around the shop, probably more than ever. And I'm really excited about what we got going on, our driver lineup, our crew chiefs, our engineers. So we'll roll into Daytona with our hopes very high, our ambitions very high, our goals very high, and that's to take that trophy back home in all the series we race in. And, we had a good year last year, but we're expected to make the chase. This company, you just don't make the chase. You're expected to make it. And we've got to get up there and win a championship. The same with the Xfinity. This new chase series is going to be really exciting, I think. It's going to come down to, instead of going to Homestead and just riding and winning the championship, you're going to have to race for it. So I'm excited about that. And NASCAR's new rules, the downforce package they've put on us, it's going to be challenging for everybody. Everybody's worked really hard in the aero departments and chassis departments and everything we can to get the most out of this new package. So everybody will be going, I guess our first race is Atlanta, and we'll go down there and see how all our hard works came out this winter. And I think it's going to be good. I know a lot of great things that we've done, that we've got going on, and I'm really excited about it, and couldn't be more proud of our group. We got a win this year in the Cup. We've been consistent, and that's what it takes, but we want to win in the Cup Series, and we will this year.
Thanks, RC. With that,
One more thing. Also, I'd like to hit you one more time with Chevrolet. I think this is our 47th year with Chevrolet, and that tells you what a partnership with Chevy and GM and all the partners we've had up there. So I'm really proud of that also, and all of our corporate sponsors that's on board.
thanks, RC. So with that, we'll open it up for a couple of questions. I think there's microphones coming around the room. I can only see silhouettes with the light, so I'll point at you. Yes, sir. You.
Wolfgang Monse from Germany, Rennsport Press Agency. You said earlier you have a cooperation or alliance with TBR, Tommy Baldwin Racing, and Levine Family Racing. Are you also supplying engineering stuff or just engines?
For
the corporation, for example, when you supply engines.
For Levine, it's technical support. For Tommy Baldwin, it's a lesser level of technical support and engines.
Okay. Are the teams allowed to touch the engine, or when they have to be rebuilt, they go back to RCR?
They go back to RCR to be rebuilt. On here?
Stan Creekmore with RPMTonight.com. And I was trying to decide exactly who, but Ryan, I'm going to go with you, Ryan Newman. Ryan, how close do you feel you truly are to capturing a championship with this team?
Close? Fairly close. Close last year, closer 2 years ago. I think that we have all the tools, and I think that there's a lot of situations that happen throughout the chase that some you're in control of and some you're not in control of. And we proved 2 years ago that we could come really close, 1 point close, and surprised a lot of people. Last year wasn't as successful. We got knocked out in the second round, but you know, some of that was our fault. Some of that was what happened and unfolded at Talladega. But you know, Richard and everybody here, I mean, as far as I know, we're the only team that has 2 doctors, one in the engine group and one in the aerodynamics group and the vehicle group. So we've got the tools. Richard's given us the tools, the parts, the pieces, and most importantly, the people. Myself, Luke, and all the guys are, you know, Caterpillar, Granger, and Wicks coming back. We look forward to the opportunity of making it happen. It's perspective.
Anybody else?
A question to Dr. Warren. Richard said earlier it's challenging with this new rules package in NASCAR, taking more downforce out of the car. How much is this affected with the aero package? We see different cars, or you have more wind tunnel testing. How is it different from the previous car?
Well, I think the package is different, but you know, we ran this package, very similar package at Darlington, so we've had a lot of time working on the package starting at Kentucky and Darlington. Certainly a lot of wind tunnel time. Really, when you look at the package, the idea, we've worked closely with NASCAR, the drivers, the teams, on trying to create some different features. It's not just the downforce off. It allows the drivers to have less on throttle time. The tires, Goodyear working with, it gives a margin to Goodyear to allow them to maybe create a tire that has a little more grip initially and falls off. So there's a lot of different features. Obviously, you're trying to recover as much of the downforce as you can, but the package as a whole, both tires and the aero, are different. So it's a challenge and an exciting challenge for the engineering parts of all the teams, because you get to really exercise the tools. There's not near as much testing, really no testing minus the Vegas test. And so you really are piecing together, you know, how well you can look at the car as a system and come prepared come Atlanta.
Okay, one last question, Chris.
Chris Knight, Catchfence.com. Brendan, NASCAR announced earlier this week a chase playoff format for the Xfinity Series. How do you think that will benefit RCR this season?
You know, I think a chase format benefits this team very well, especially the 62 bunch. We talked a bunch about how, you know, one bad race with all the cup drivers and all the points the way they are, one bad race, you lose 30 points in a race, it takes you 15 races just to make that up. So to be able to go to a chase format really gives life to a lot of teams down the stretch. It changes how you can race beforehand. It really changes how you can approach certain races. I suck at Richmond. I know that. I can now go to Richmond and really try to drive differently than I ever have because, hey, if I'm locked points-wise into the chase or the win, I can change the way I approach it. And then this team, with, like Ryan said, the people that we have to help the Xfinity program, to build these cars, do the engines, the aero, we feel that the chase races are very strong for a team like RCR, and the driver lineup we have should fit very well at those places. So it, from my standpoint, I think we're really sitting pretty with a chase format for the RCR Xfinity bunch.
All right, once again, thank you all for joining us this morning. We're going to end here with a photo op, and then we'll go to the breakout sessions after that.